crowd just going berserk with every turn.
Perfect positioning. The Australian makes history.
World Surf League champion Carissa Moore.
Adriano de Souza is the 2015 world champion.
Welcome to the WSL Fantasy Preview. I'm Chelsea Cannell, pleased to be joined by the one and only Strider Wasilewski and the gorgeous Rosy Hodge. I know we've been waiting. It's been a long off season. How pumped are you guys for the 2016 season?
Yeah, it's going to be one of those things we're going to get to see everybody's performance right out of the gate, where their heads are, physically, mentally, their performances, and it's just one of those moments where you get to see the benchmark getting set.
Exactly, and this is the most time that the athletes have really got to put their heads down, regroup for the new season, 2016, just come out of the blocks firing. What a way to start on the Gold Coast. I mean, it's been absolutely firing the last couple of weeks.
And it is a perfect time to start thinking about your fantasy team. I know Strider and Rosy have been thinking about it, and thankfully for you, we have them on hand to give us some intel. But before we do that, Rosy, let's talk about 2015. There were some standout performers for the ladies for fantasy owners.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you think about some of the girls that are just so consistently throwing down high heat totals, and that's really got to factor into your fantasy surfing team. I mean, Carissa Moore, her average heat total last year was 14.81 points. I mean, that's huge. So you think about that, she's going to be bringing in some big points for your fantasy team. You've got Courtney Conlog, she does amazing every time. Sally Fitzgibbons, so consistent, and as well as Tatiana Westenweb, the little goofy foot surprise.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about 2016, Rosy. I know you put a lot of thought into the start, the sit, and the dark horse. So what do you have for us for the Gold Coast?
Well, I think one thing that we all missed last year was Stephanie Gilmore. I mean, she got that injury in Margaret River, and it was so hard to see her not compete, and I think the girls kind of, they were missing that element of having Stephanie Gilmore. So the Gold Coast, snapper, home break, home court advantage, the crowd's going to be behind her, and we're just going to welcome her back.
That sounds really good, and that's good intel for you guys if you're setting your team. Moving on into the men's side of things, Strider, you also put a lot of work into this. It's difficult to pick because we love everybody, obviously, on tour, but there are specific people who do better at certain events. So for the Gold Coast, who do you think you're going to start, sit, and who's your dark horse?
Well, for me, it's obvious that Mick Fanning's, one of the top performers. So, Mick, coming off the year he's going to be the guy basically to beat right off the bat, in Tier A. You've got Gabriel Medina that's going to be right there to me, coming into the, Tier B, Parko, Slater. For me, John, Nat Young. I mean, there's just a level of performance that we're going to get out of those guys that we, are so used to and can't wait to see. And on the backside there, at the bottom, I feel like Kaufman is just going to come in and just smoke guys. This guy has got so much power, style, grace. He's been on the right points. He knows exactly what he wants to do.
Rose, do you agree with Strider's picks?
Yeah, I'd have to say, Kaufman's someone to look out for, but also Jack Freestone. I mean, his local break, Snapper Rocks, coming in as a fantasy pick, as a rookie on tour. You've really got to highlight these new couple guys that are coming onto the tour for 2016.
Strider, I threw you right into 2016, but looking back at 2015, who were some of the top performers in case you guys want to take some chances on some of those names?
Well, the top performer obviously was Mick Fanning. I mean, you got these guys that are coming out of the box. Kelly Slater made it in there, just barely. Felipe Toledo, Gabriel Medina, Adriano de Souza. All these guys who were in the front runners, the only surprise really was Kelly Slater. We would have thought we were going to see him just dominating through the year, which could be the case coming into this new year, but right now, he just barely made it into the top performers.
Oh, such great intel, and of course you know that the Gold Coast is going to start on March 10th, so you're going to want to start your teams. We have so many new features and updates for fantasy surfing this year, so keep checking the website to find out what those are. And if you haven't played fantasy in the past, it is easy to learn, it is a whole lot of fun to play, and it's free. What else do you guys need? So that's going to do it for our fantasy preview show. It is now time for you to set your team.